At 9:26 a.m. on August 15, 2025, the calm blue waters of the Gulf of Aden shimmered under the relentless summer sun. The USS Roosevelt, an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer of the United States Navy, cut a determined path through international waters. The mission was routine on paper, escorting a convoy of merchant vessels carrying vital cargo through one of the world's most dangerous maritime corridors. But on the bridge, the atmosphere was far from relaxed. Beneath the steady hum of the ship's engines, the SPY-1D radar screen suddenly painted a set of returns that tightened every muscle on deck. Dozens of small, fast-moving contacts appeared from the east, their speeds and course leaving no doubt. This was not a fishing fleet, it was a swarm. Somali pirate skiffs, armed and determined, were heading straight for the destroyer and its convoy. The Gulf of Aden has long been a hunting ground for pirates, but today they had chosen the wrong prey. Standing between them and their targets was one of the most advanced warships afloat, backed by the sheer might and tradition of the United States Navy. The USS Roosevelt was not a lumbering cargo ship or a lightly armed patrol boat. It was a predator among predators, bristling with weaponry and technology. From the Combat Information Center deep inside the ship, the tactical action officer watched the unfolding picture with cold precision. Surface search radars and electronic surveillance systems worked together to paint the enemy in stunning detail. The contacts were closing fast, riding the waves at more than 30 knots. At this speed, they would be within small arms range in less than 20 minutes. On deck, sailors manned their stations with calm, disciplined efficiency. The Roosevelt's Mark 38 25mm chain guns rotated toward the threat, their operators tracking the pirates through stabilized sights. The ship's 50 caliber machine guns were loaded and ready, their barrels glinting in the morning light. Above them, the Phalanx close-in weapon system stood poised, its radar silently sweeping, ready to unleash a storm of tungsten rounds if anything came within its lethal envelope. The data flowed instantly through Link 16 to every unit in the escort group. 2 guided missile cruisers, the USS Gettysburg and USS Bunker Hill, tightened formation. Helicopter crews on the flight decks prepped their MH-60R Seahawks for immediate launch. Their payloads, including door-mounted M240 machine guns and advanced surveillance gear. The merchant vessels, under the Roosevelt's protective umbrella, maintained course and speed, their captains trusting entirely in the steel wall of the US Navy. Through binoculars, the pirate skiffs became visible as black dots bouncing over the waves, growing larger with each passing second. Dozens of men stood aboard, AK-47 rifles slung over their shoulders, RPG-7 launchers in hand. Many wore balaclavas or wrapped scarves to shield their faces. They were yelling to one another over the roar of their outboard engines, confident from years of preying on unarmed ships. But today, they were facing a destroyer that could detect, track, and engage threats far beyond the horizon. The pirates might have been fierce in spirit, but they were badly outmatched in every other way. From the Combat Information Center, the Roosevelt's commanding officer issued the first warning over the ship's powerful loudhailers. The message was repeated in Somali and English, ordering the approaching vessels to alter course and stand down. There was no response. The skiffs fanned out into an attack formation, attempting to flank the destroyer and the convoy from multiple directions. It was then that the Roosevelt made her first move. With a deep mechanical growl, the ship's 5-inch Mark 45 gun swiveled toward the lead skiff, its barrel lowering like a predator fixing its gaze on prey. The pirates slowed for just a moment, perhaps realizing the gravity of what they were approaching. But then, the engines roared again and the charge resumed. At 9:37 a.m., the order was given. 2 MH-60R Seahawks lifted off from the destroyer's deck, rotors churning the sea into froth. Armed gunners leaned out of the side doors, scanning for hostile movement. The helicopters banked hard and accelerated toward the pirate formation, their presence immediately altering the tactical picture. From above, the pilots could see the entire swarm spread across the water. Over the next 5 minutes, the tension climbed higher. The Roosevelt's bridge team called for warning shots. The 5-inch gun boomed, sending a round screaming over the lead skiff's bow and exploding harmlessly in the water ahead. The shockwave rocked the pirates' boats, spraying them with salt water. A second shot followed, even closer this time, the plume of spray towering over the approaching vessels. Some of the skiffs began to slow, their crews visibly uncertain, but others pressed on, weaving in and out of the waves, determined to close the gap. It was then that the full weight of the US Navy's response descended. From the port side of the Roosevelt, a burst of fire erupted from a Mark 38 chain gun. Tracer rounds streaked across the water, slicing in front of a pirate boat and forcing it to veer sharply to avoid destruction. On the starboard side, a .50 caliber opened up, sending shockwaves through the humid air and hammering the water in front of another skiff. The message was unmistakable. Any further advance would be suicidal. The MH-60R Seahawks swooped in low, their machine guns chattering in short bursts, aimed at the waterline ahead of the pirates. Overhead, the roar of another set of rotors signaled the arrival of reinforcements. A US Navy P-8 Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft, circling high above with its sensors locked on the swarm. From the air, the Poseidon's crew fed targeting data directly to the Roosevelt and her escorts. The pirates' positions, speeds, and maneuvers were plotted in real time, allowing the destroyer's crew to anticipate their every move. At 9:49 a.m., the climax came. A pirate skiff, perhaps misjudging its speed, surged too close to the Roosevelt's bow. The destroyer heeled slightly to starboard, her massive hull slicing through the waves and throwing a wall of water into the smaller boat. The skiff was tossed violently aside, its crew scrambling to regain balance. In that same moment, the lead helicopter banked hard, bringing its M240 to bear on a second skiff that had tried to flank the convoy. The gunners unleashed a stream of rounds into the water directly ahead, the noise alone enough to send the pirates turning away at full throttle. The tide had turned completely. The pirate formation dissolved into chaos. Skiffs broke away in every direction, their crews abandoning the attack and racing back toward the Somali coastline. The US Navy had not fired to destroy. It had fired to dominate, to send an unmistakable message that no vessel under American protection would be taken. As the last pirate boat disappeared over the horizon, the Roosevelt's crew maintained full alert, scanning for any sign of a second wave. The helicopters continued their patrol, sweeping the area and ensuring the waters were clear. On the bridge, the commanding officer ordered the convoy to maintain course. The mission would go on uninterrupted. The Gulf of Aden has seen countless acts of piracy over the years, but this encounter would be remembered for its clarity. It was a lesson to every would-be attacker. When you challenge the US Navy, you face not just a ship, but an entire network of intelligence, technology, and unyielding resolve. As the sun climbed higher over the horizon, the Roosevelt steamed on, her crew vigilant and her presence a silent shield for the vessels in her care. The sea had returned to its calm rhythm, but the message still echoed across the waves. The US Navy owns these waters, and any who test that fact do so at their peril. If you respect the men and women who stand watch in dangerous waters every day, protecting not just American ships but the lifelines of global trade, share this video, like it, and subscribe to the channel for more stories of courage and precision on the high seas. And tell us in the comments, what do you think was the pirates' biggest mistake in this encounter?